Hello everybody, this is we're doing the comparison of the different lenses that I have, and today we're going to use the the Nikon 105 macro. We're using it because I want to show you the difference of how sharp it is versus other lenses, and then how sharp it is at the different apertures. Let's see. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna take several shots. So these are the lenses that we're testing. We're testing the 105 macro, and I thought it would be fun if we do the tether so that you can see when I'm taking the picture how it comes out. Okay, so I just want to review again real quick the metadata. I have it set for aperture priority. Is the 105. I put it in ISO 400. ISO 400 is because I'm indoors, and right now we set it at f3. Even though this is a 2.8 lens, did I say 1.8? I meant 2.8. It's a 2.8 lens. When you go when you put it in the, in other words, when you're not very close, it goes to 3.0, even though it should start at 2.8. Even if I try to put it at 2.8, it won't go to 2.8. But anyway, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take at the different apertures several pictures, and then we'll do comparisons, and then at the end we'll compare the 105 to the 85 1.8 and to the 50 millimeter. Okay, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna change now to f4. I'm going to do this relatively quickly because it takes a little while to load the pictures, so I can always show it to you afterwards. This is 5.6, f8, f11, and f16. Okay, so this is, sorry, this is the 85 millimeter. I apologize. Okay. I'm doing this live, and I'm not gonna do the video again if I make a little mistake. Okay, so this is so here is at f3. Okay, and let's see how sharp it is. So what I did is I did single focus, center of the lens, in the eye. On purpose I did autofocus so you can see how well the autofocus works. Okay, so now let's compare, let's do some comparisons. So this would be 3.0 versus 4.0. It'll be more relevant to look at the bokeh or the background, how blurry it is when we do other comparisons. So let's see. This is at, so this is 5.6, still loading, so it's okay. So here you can see is, even though it's an aperture priority, the exposure is a little bit different, but you can see that in 5.6 is a lot sharper than at 3.0. Look at the teeth, how sharp it is. It also has to do with depth of field. Okay, so the sharpest usually is f8 and f11, but in this case it may have to do a little bit more with depth of field or the autofocus. So that's why when you're doing very wide apertures, you know, like f1.8, 2.8, even 3.0, you have to be careful because it's I'm doing this on a tripod, and you know the VR is off, and despite all that, it's difficult to take these shots. Okay, so now let's compare versus the f8. So actually, let's compare the 5.6 to the f8. So this is 5.6 and this is f8. f8 again is usually the sharpest. You can see in the teeth that it's a little bit sharper than the, it may be hard for you to see, but I can see it in my monitor. The f8 is a little sharper than the 5.6, although the eyes look sharper in the 5.6. Anyway, it's very, very sharp. So now let's look at f11. So this is f8 and f11. Wow, this is very, very sharp. And now let's look at f8 and f16. Okay, so f16 is very sharp also. Now the other thing that I want to show you, the other comparison we want to do is we don't want to zoom in so that we can see the background of the bokeh. Obviously at f8 and f16 you can see almost all the background, but if you go to we'll compare to the 85 in a second. So here you have the two extremes, 3.0 and f16. 3.0, everything is blurred. I purposely put this background, which is not very nice, because a lot of times you have undesirable background. I also purposely put this so that you can see how close you have to be with the depth of field to start blurring the background. So I mean, obviously the 3.0 is just beautiful. So let's compare now the 3.0 to, let's see, this is f8. This is f8 actually is a nice blur background as well, but f8 is obviously not what you use to blur your background. You want to do the wider aperture. So let's look at f4. Yeah, so it's very nice. I mean, I do think that, again, we noticed before that if you want super sharp, you may have to go a little bit more than f3. Now the other thing I want to do is I want to compare, let's find f8. So this is f8. Just bear with me. Okay, so here we have the 105. Actually, it would have been better the other way, but let's see if I can. No. Okay, so this is the other thing I wanted to show you, the 105 versus the 85. The 85 is the most popular lens for portraits, but I wanted to show you a comparison versus the 105 because I love the 105 for portraits. The 105 is very sharp. Obviously it's a macro lens, so it's extremely sharp, and actually, compared to the 85, the 85 did really well. I'm a little bit, well, no, but look at the 105. The 105, look at the teeth and look at the teeth in the 85. So you can see that the 105 is very sharp. Now the other thing is I want to show the bokeh. So let's see if I So this is 85 1.8. So let's see, 8 5.6 4 3. 105, so f3, so this is very similar here. Okay, so you know, kind of apples to apples. 2.8 versus 3.0. See, this it's a little different distance, but both beautiful bokeh or blur background. The 105, because it's a longer depth, sorry, a longer lens, there is going to be more shallow depth of field. So you know, this is a comparison that I wanted to make just for the fun of it. So let's see, we have here f3, 4, 5.6, 8. So this is f8, and okay, so these are the two sharpest, the f8 and the f8. So let's see which one is sharper. Let's zoom 1 to 1. Yeah, the 105, they're both very sharp, but I still think the 105 is a little bit sharper. So anyway, you make your own conclusions. I think that the advantage of the 105 is that you can use it for portraits, you can use it for macro. Very few people use it for portraits. I'm kind of surprised. The 1.8 macro is obviously the less expensive. Sorry, I keep saying 1.8, I meant 2.8. The 2.8 105 macro is the less expensive one. There is you can buy, I believe it's either 1.8 or 1.4, but you know, it's under $1,000. It's a nice lens. It's actually, I would say the 105 with the 85 are my two favorite lenses for portraits, especially if they're headshots. You know, I also use the 70-200, so it gives me more flexibility, which we'll do a test of it a little bit later. Well, I hope you enjoy this video. As always, put in the comments area any questions that you have, and I try to answer all the questions, and I hope you found this useful.